Hey there, Taurus Sun, Taurus Moon, Taurus Rising. Welcome to your reading for January 23rd through the 29th. You have some interesting energy that's coming up here. You have the Embracing card. Look at that. Okay, so it says, I embrace love. I'm sorry, one more time. I embrace and love all of my life. And even though it's such a beautiful card, these two little sunflowers intertwined with each other, the Spirit said to me that it's embracing the good and the bad. It looks like the DNA, right? It looks like the double helix of the DNA. And so in life, it's embracing the dichotomy, the good and the bad, the great moments, the low moments. It's all of it. It's all of it. It's about being excited to be here having this experience. I embrace and love all of my life, even the parts that stink. All of it, right? So, what is that? Oh, okay. Let's see. All right, so life is speeding up. Life is speeding up. Planets are all moving direct for the next 4.5 months or so, except Mercury is going to do a retrograde in your sign. But other than that, planets are moving direct until we get to the middle of June. Pluto does station retrograde prior to that, but most of the planets are moving forward, and so there's a lot of energy in which to get things done and accomplished in. And so I can see that it is hot on your mind, that you got to get things going, you got things to do, blah, 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 right? But when they say, I embrace and love and accept all of my life, that is work and play. Right? It is living in balance. It is both things. And if anything during this very slow energy that we came out of was there to help Taurus, was to learn to slow down for a moment and appreciate people and opportunities and stuff. And so unless you are integrating that lesson of keeping everything in balance, work and play, you may burn out. This is a year where the beginning of the year has a lot of great fast-moving energy, but we get to the middle of June and the North Node moves out of your sign. You go into your integration period, which is going to slow things down. Saturn moves into Pisces. He's kind of slow there too, and all the planets start moving retrograde. And so it is a marathon, not a sprint. And so while we want to be very much about getting things initiated and getting things under control and organizing and laying the groundwork and the foundation, a solid foundation, right? Squaring up those corners, getting things organized right now, we can't be running full tilt, and we certainly can't expect that at the end of the year you're going to run full tilt. And so to try not to become exhausted and to find the balance, because the push is going to come later, and if you're pushing already, you're not going to have it to push later when you need it. And so right now, this is the sweet energy, and even though you're like, I can get so much done, I want to encourage you not to burn yourself out, because the grind is coming. It's coming. All right? That doesn't mean it won't be rewarding, but it is going to be a grind. And so here, we have the coconut dragon of multitasking. This is the underlying energy, and we have at the key to the situation is being organized. And so can you set things up in a way where you can multitask during the work periods, but you are creating the downtime too? You have to have both. Taurus, you're going to get out of balance really fast this year if you don't have both. And everybody's going to, all right? I mean, that's just a thing. But that energy, I can't stress enough that while you have these goals in the area of resources, there is a way to approach them. So this blueberry dragon has shown up for many, many readings, and I think it's because the key information here is for us to look at, what do you want to accomplish this year? What do you want to accomplish? Write it all down, and then take a look at them and say, which one's going to take the most time and effort? You'll want to do those first. you'll want to do those first. That is what we need to be doing right now while we have the most energy, while we have the most time, while everything is moving forward and this is the ground to be working in. So yes, you'll want to do those first, but you've got to keep it balanced, right? You've been trying to figure out, we've got the little jelly dragon of play, how to have more play in your day. You've got to create space for that too. That is part of being organized, because how do you transform your situation? You have the starfruit dragon, which is called moderation. You can't be running full tilt. So how do you do this? How do you create this balance? And so I really want you to start paying attention to your own energetic cycles. Are the parts of the day when you really have a lot of energy and you think clearer? Well, then do stuff then that coordinates with that. And, you know, the little mundane stuff. Oh, gosh. For instance, I like to do laundry in the morning when I get up and I'm still waking up. Like my coffee hasn't come in. I'm still like kind of tooling. That is the time, because that is something that doesn't require me to think, but it also makes me feel productive. It gets that, like, I already accomplished something before I've even had breakfast yet, right? And so that's one of the energy things I do, what works for you. And so really learning to work within your own personal energetic space and how your cycles work is going to be key to success this year. And so, yeah, you need a plan. What drains your energy is the versatility. The underlining energy is the multitasking. They're saying here, focus on the one thing that takes the most time and do that first. And so that multitasking is very draining. Can you organize your day in a way that you can accomplish everything that needs to be done that day, but not expecting yourself to be superhuman? And Taurus, I know you don't do an 8-hour day. I don't do an 8-hour day. I got Earth all over my chart. I don't do an 8-hour day either. So, but I do... I do stop in the middle of my 12-hour day and I go for about an hour walk to rejuvenate and to reconnect with myself. And so, yeah, no, when I get up, like I said, I start working the minute I get out of bed. Like I already have something going on. Like I'm either doing my social media for YouTube, or I'm running laundry, or, you know, I'm prepping meals for the week. I'm already working. By 6:30 in the morning, I'm already at work. Like that's how my day rolls. And then, you know, I try to schedule that downtime for me time, to workout time, you know, and then, but I shut everything down at 7 o'clock, and then that's my time, right? And so I have a 12-hour day that's really like 12 and a half, and I try to fit in a break for myself to mentally and spiritually recharge. Are you taking care of your energy? And I'm in bed at 9. Lights out, done. Right? So what are you doing for yourself? And are you managing things in a way that you really need to? You need a regular schedule and a routine. You need to create space for yourself. You know, in the heart space, you have the card of strength. And so this is about stamina and courage. There's a message that's trying to come through, and they said to go to the book. I'm not. So it's the spinach dragon. It's Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm getting that song. It's making me laugh. Okay. All right. So when you're feeling down and small, the spinach dragon lifts you up and fortifies you so that you can face challenges with renewed vigor and confidence. Let this little green hole inspire you to tap into self-empowerment waiting to be discovered. But it's in the heart space. And so this is about you believing in you. This is about self-love, self-worth, self-esteem. Venus rules your sign. She's all about that. And this week she actually changes sign. She moves into Pisces, where she's exalted. And so she's in the energy of choice and decision making for you. And so she's asking you to choose yourself, to place value on yourself, to understand that you can't neglect you while you're trying to take care of everything else. And your health needs to be a priority. Is the health card here? It's not. I'm feeling the health card. Okay, so So you may be feeling pretty good right now because everything slowed down and you kind of didn't have a choice. But I really want to encourage you to make sure you're keeping yourself, and you can't be working 24/7. You can't. And I know, like, I live in farming country, and we're coming up on planting season not too long from now. And they're probably already out working the fields, getting things prepared because we haven't had a lot of snow this year, but we've had a lot of rain. So maybe that's keeping them out of the fields. I'm not really sure. But, they're definitely organizing things and getting themselves ready. But once planting season comes, those tractors have lights on that stay on all night, and they will literally work all the way through the night to make sure everything gets planted in time, because if the weather's coming in and it's causing a problem, they got to get it done. And so sometimes that kind of stuff happens. You just can't run like that all the time. Running on adrenaline, not good. Not good. It's not good for your heart. Literally not good for your heart. Part of strengthening your heart on a physical level is going for those walks. Cardiovascular. Not running. I'm not a big fan of running. I know people do it and they get a lot out of it and blah, blah, blah. I have a degree in exercise science, and I can tell you right now the best exercise you can do is walking, and the second one would be swimming. So just keep that in mind. Swimming, and both of them, it's because of that pounding on your joints. Although the benefit to running is it does help to strengthen your bones. So it's hard to work it all out, but weightlifting will also strengthen your bones, and so there's things you can do. Okay. In the area of what you've been struggling with, we have the defensive little fruit dragon here, and the kindness dragon of the raspberry. But what's interesting is they aren't looking at each other. Look at that. It's almost like if someone's trying to be nice to you, you don't want to hear it, or you're trying to be nice to somebody and they're done. This feels like an emotional situation where somebody's really defensive and not open to having conversation at this time. I don't have anything else to go on here with that. That back-to-back energy is really hard, would be hard to miss right now. I feel like something's making you prickly. I really want to pull a card on that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find something that pops out at me as it would give an answer to that situation that might help. Don't tell the other signs I did this. I have your sign, and then I have Aries to do, and then I'm done with this week. So definitely know I'm probably not doing this, but let me just see if we can figure out what the problem here is. I'm using the Flowers of the Night Oracle by Sherlyn Darcy. It will not be in the description box. I can guarantee you I'm not going to bother. Communication. Yep, there is a lack of communication. Maybe, and it's an owl. It looks like a little screech owl, actually, right? So it's that wisdom. It's the trying to have the conversation undercover, and so it's almost as though if you've got something to say, you need to be very plain speaking with it, because the communication was probably really jacked up over Mercury in retrograde. Well, Mercury stationed direct on the 18th, and so maybe try again. Mercury doesn't clear its shadow until February 7th. So here in the United States, the president gives the State of the Union address every year. And it's usually like in January. And I was like, I just was like, when is the State of the Union address? I just typed that in this morning. It came up February 7th, and I started laughing. And I was like, okay, well, somebody in the White House is into astrology, because Mercury clears shadow on February 7th. And so there's still a chance all the way up until, well, Mercury's still in what we call the storm for another couple of days. So it'll be later this week before it at least gets out of the storm and it starts to clear up. And so, but if you can wait to have a major conversation after February after February 15th, because that week, okay, so that week of the 6th through, what is it, the 14th or whatever, right? It was Valentine's Day, has some really crappy energy for communication also. So I would suggest if you could wait till the middle of the month or maybe even as the sun gets into Pisces to try to have a heart-to-heart conversation might be a good idea. But right now, I would say just be kind, be aware. You do have the card of observe here in the action to take. So I want to say observe your cycles and rhythms, but also observe what's going on around you and try to have patience for the process as far as that goes, and figure out what it is you're going to say. And the more that you try to bring fun and joy into it, I think the better overall. So there's this card of moderation. This means don't lose patience with this communication issue. Give it time to sort out, and then have the conversation in better communication energy. And again, in the middle of April, so really at like right around the end of March, Mercury goes into retrograde, into shadow again and retrogrades. We get 4 Mercury retrogrades, and they're all in Earth signs this year, which means it's going to totally affect you, but this one's in Taurus. And so I would say if you need to have a major important conversation, either with you want to sign contracts for a new building or a new job or a new, whatever you're doing there, or in the personal communication aspect, I would look for that window between February 15th and March 15th to have those important conversations, Taurus, because the earth signs are really getting hit by Mercury retrograde, and that next one is directly in your sign. And so with this kind of defensive energy and this back-to-back, and it's about communication thing going on here, this is creating some kind of a layer of difficulty in your life. I can see that you're trying to figure out where you belong, and that is where you're supposed to be anchoring your energy. Where do I belong? What is appropriate for me now, who I am, because you've been growing and evolving through this North Node going through your sign. So what feels right? What is significant for you? Right? And so right now it's about observing your energy and your cycles and seeing what happens. Like, let things play out a little bit more before you make any major decisions, because I think knowing who you are and what you want is important, but it feels like things are kind of in flux around. But as far as work and stuff goes and creating projects and stuff like that, the energy is moving forward now. Mercury retrograde is going to be a little more complicated for you, so you don't have as big of a window as everyone else does. So it's really important that you start now on the one that's going to take the most time, because it's going to get more complicated. So Monday morning on the 23rd, it's at 9:36 p.m. West Coast time, so 12:36 p.m. Eastern time zone, and then all day up over in across the pond there, in Europe. That morning hour energy is really productive for thinking, getting things on paper, scheduling, doing budgets, whatever. Use that. That is a good way to use this cycle of energy. That's why I really like to talk about the moon's doing in the planets, because it helps us to schedule our lives in a way that really works with the energy, okay? And then the moon gets into Pisces in the afternoon, and so then for the next 2 days or so, that's about team building and making choices and decisions. Especially for you, it's in your choice and decision-making energy. And so really, while the moon is in Pisces, you have the card of enjoy the journey. So who do you want to work with? Where this anchoring into place? What fits for you? What feels right? It's about working with your energetic cycles and figuring things out, and knowing when and how to use this energy becomes really important. And so it says here that you stay present and flexible, Taurus. Flexibility is not your strong suit, but flexibility is key. When you are in this in-between, let the plan still be willing to shift and change. Not the goal, the plan. right? Not the same things, right? You can have a goal and that's fixed on the goal, but be willing to shift and adapt and be flexible around the plan. That's a lot less stressful when you work with the energy. So the changes are not only good, but they're necessary. Bring your awareness into the now rather than focusing on the past or the present. What action are you supposed to take? You have Carrot Dragon. Observe. Be where you are right now. Observe what's going on. Be willing to shift and adjust based on what's actually happening in the now instead of what you determined that you thought it should be at this point, because energetically things are not moving in that direction. We do have Venus, your ruling planet, moving into Pisces on Thursday, and she's going to spend the rest of Aquarius season pretty much hanging out there. So the next 3 weeks or so in Pisces, and she's kind of laying the groundwork. She's laying the groundwork for what Saturn's going to be doing when he gets there March 7th, I think. And so there's this energy about figuring out what is of value to you, what are your choices and your decisions. This is a good time to be flexible. She is in a mutable sign. That's flexibility. In a water sign, it's about using your intuition, but it's also about sorting out what dreams you want to chase down. And so really for the next 3 weeks, allow things to just kind of evolve. And that big conversation, I would wait. I would wait until, the middle to the end of February to have that really tough conversation. It feels like it's sitting there smoldering in the background about something like I got to leave this job, or I want to make this big move, or I need to make this financial plan, or it might be a relationship involved because we got kindness and defense, and that feels very personal for some reason. All right, so I wanted to look it up because when the moon moves into Aries, we have Aries, the god of war here, and it says battle. Okay, and so it's creative and passionate, and it's a very energetic energy, and we have this kindness and this defense going on here. So I really want to caution you to be sure this is what you want to do. Aries does not govern the strategy of war, but rather the physical aspect of the fight. He is here to remind you that you may need to take a step back and observe to see what is occurring in your life. It is dangerous to immerse yourself in the heat of the battle without a sense of why and how and why you are there. This card of place, anchor into the place. There is a need for you to understand why you are where you are right now. How did you get there? And where do you want to go from here? And so Aries, this is a caution. This is a caution because he can set you on a course that there's no backing down from because he didn't have enough information. Okay, so let's just think about Ukraine right now. Vladimir Putin was being told by his generals, oh, we can go in and get this thing done in 3 weeks. And they were wrong. And now he's in a position where he is so committed. What is the way out? And I feel like that is what could happen to you on the job or in a personal relationship or something if you don't take a step back and observe and to moderate your reaction to something and instead organize your thoughts and figure out what is your long-term goal here really? Who are you now? Have you gone through all these eclipses, and you still have another one to go in your sign? It's happening not even all the way until October, 25th? There's another eclipse coming in your sign, and then during the sun sign of Taurus, we have one on the 5th of May. And so you still have a couple more eclipses coming in, even though the North Node will have moved into Aries. Speaking of Aries, in June, you still have another eclipse coming at the last degrees of Taurus. And so, or the first degrees of Taurus. And so they're not done with you yet. Spirit's not done with realigning your life. And so that's why you want to be as flexible as you possibly can be right now. Sorry you're having such a long reading, Taurus. I know you don't really like it. All right. So if it's time for a fight for yourself and for your ground and for your loved ones or your beliefs, that's fine, but don't fight blindly. You need to understand what is happening and why. Now, if you want to have a good date night, this weekend carries that energy when the moon moves into your sign. Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday has this really nice family nesting, let's cuddle up kind of energy. Let's get some stuff done around here. And so I really do, if you're looking for something to kind of break the ice, there's your opportunity. Okay. We have here the dolphin play. Swim in the happy joy of living. Inhale confidence. Exhale fear. Inhale confidence. Exhale fear. And dive into your wisdom and go with the flow. You're being flexible is going to be very beneficial. You have another water one here too. The humpback whale, which says sing healing songs for the world. Your inner navigation always guides you. Nothing can stop you or keep you from your goal. Align with your purpose and the power in your soul. And so there's a need for you to really figure out what it is you want and why. And you have the card of regeneration. And so again, this is about observing and taking your time and figuring out. This is about allowing some healing. As a survivor, you are unparalleled. No matter what happens, you can adapt, embrace your transformation, put on a new cloak. You are the master of regeneration. And if that's not what you were in the past, that may have been what you become now with this energy shift as the North Node had moved through, was teaching you how to regenerate, to become something new and different from some aspect of your life. All right, Taurus. You guys take good care. I'm on Facebook every day. If you did not see your new moon video, came out on Friday last week. You might have missed it. Be sure to check that out. I'll talk to you soon. It was much shorter.